Hello, my name is Mrs. Garnett, and I'm a teacher here at TIVA. So, today we're going to be doing a lesson about adaptations. And there's a lot you need to know about adaptations, but I want to try and make this quick before we go on and have a virtual field trip. So, we're going to be doing a virtual field trip at the Memphis Zoo to discover some of the adaptations that animals have. So, adaptations are an organism's ability to adapt to changes. This goes hand in hand with natural selection. So, natural selection is the ability for the survival of the fittest, quote, quote. Animals that are best suited to their environment, the ones that change the most, are the ones that survive to pass on their genes and have offspring. Now, this also goes hand in hand with another biology factor as well. So there are genetic variations, genetics differences, if you will. So there's a mixture of genes through any sexual reproduction that creates these changes, these differences between organisms. And differences are a good thing. If everybody was the same, say a plant was the same, and a pesticide could come in and kill that plant, then all the other plants that are just like it are also going to die. Now, this might be good for farming, but it also might be bad and you might kill out a species or lead to extinction where the organism no longer exists. So, I hope you are going to enjoy this little walkthrough of some of the organisms at the Memphis Zoo and quite possibly spot some of their adaptations that they use to survive. The very first organism we're going to look at is a giraffe. So the first thing you want to ask yourself when you're asking how they have adapted is look at some of their features. All animals have changed to suit their environment. It's what helps them survive. So pause the video if you need to take some time to think about how the giraffe has adapted. Now, you might notice it has a long neck that helps it collect leaves, or hooves that help it walk on the ground. Even its horns can be used during some collisions when they're fighting for mates. The next animal we're going to look at is a rhinoceros. Just like the giraffe, it's from the Africa savanna, so it has a lot of features that are very similar. What adaptations do you see on the rhinoceros that it has made to survive in the Africa savanna like the giraffe? What's similar? What's different? Pause the video. And its horns help it dig up roots, just like the horns on a giraffe help it fight. Next up, we have a crocodile. Now, a lot of the adaptations we have been looking at are structural, so they're the parts of the animal. What is a behavioral adaptation you see on the crocodile here? What is it doing that might help it either hunt food or stay protected? Pause the video if you need more time. Okay, so the crocodile is really good at faking looking like something that's not alive. Next up, we have pink flamingos. And birds have something that is very common that they adapt to, where the males often have very bright plumage. Think of a peacock. Flamingos are the same way. The males are also a brighter pink, just like the peacocks have more coloration to them. This is because that coloration shows they're healthier. And if they're healthier, it means they're better able to catch food and provide for a female for a mate. So this is just another type of adaptation that one of these organisms has. This is another bird. This one is from Australia and is known as the kookaburra. If you've ever heard a kookaburra call, it is very recognizable. Go ahead and look one up when you're done with this video if you're really interested. They use this call to protect their territories and scare away other kookaburras from eating their food. Now, our next animal at the Memphis Zoo is one that I really enjoy. Unfortunately today, they weren't standing still very well. These little swimmers are penguins, and they're zipping around at a mile a minute. How does swimming fast help them survive in their natural environment? Tasty fish and avoiding predators. Our next animal is a meerkat. Now, this animal has a ton of adaptations that help it survive. Pause the video now to consider some of the things you see on these organisms. Okay, so The small little claws help it dig, it's able to look out for sentry predators, and its coloration is a great one. It blends into its environment. And blending into its environment is a great adaptation for this critter because it has a lot of things that want to eat it, especially if you've ever seen The Lion King. Meerkats are just an easy meal. So camouflage is a great way to hide from those predators and ensure their survival. So next up, we're going to look at a gorilla. Go ahead and pause the video so you can spot its adaptations. Great. Gorillas are very much like humans. They use their thumbs and their hands they use and eat their food. So this is one of the many adaptations they have. Last but not least, we're going to end with our national bird, the bald eagle. So the bald eagle has plenty of adaptations. But did you know that juvenile bald eagles had brown heads and dark bodies all the way up until they're able to mate? What do you think their white heads are supposed to symbolize? So deer are a lot like our juvenile bald eagles. When they're babies or when they're young, they're very, very delicate to their environment. Things can eat them more. So usually once creatures grow either to sexual maturity or at least to an older age, they get that adult coloration. This happens with a lot of animals. Now, a couple of the other points I want to talk about is these changes are adaptations are not just happening to the animals we're seeing at the zoo. They're also happening to plants as well. So let's say we have a butterfly and it comes in. Butterflies usually pollinate yellows and other colors more prominently than purples. And those flowers are going to become more common because they're getting pollinated more. So plants are going to adapt to their changes as well. Remember, adaptation is the ability to change. So if anything you see on an organism is how it has changed to suit its environment, whether it be to have darker coloration because it gets more sunlight or lighter coloration to reflect it more, or maybe it's to protect it with porcupine quills or spray it with stinky skunk scent. There's all kinds of adaptations, whether they be the actual structural adaptations or if they're behavioral. So I hope you really enjoyed this field trip, and thank you guys, and remember, you're always a scientist.